I'm Kevin Coleman with Football Guys, and we are back here on the YouTube channel to discuss Dynasty. Now, I've been doing a bunch of different videos this offseason, looking at like wide receiver tiers and going through kind of targets, sells, buys, some mock drafts. But today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to be looking at players, 4 players in particular, that could have a Dynasty breakout season. So we're looking at guys at their ADP, where they're getting drafted right now, and kind of projecting a breakout. So we're going to go through 4 players. We're going to look at ADP. We're going to look at value, trades, everything there that you should be on the lookout right now in your dynasty leagues that have a potential to increase their value and be a breakout this season. So let's dive in. So first guy here, and we're going to go through 4, like I said, we're going to be talking about Jameson Williams from Detroit. Now, I know a lot of people have this already. So when we're thinking of Jameson Williams, we understand kind of where, what his season outlook is. He came off that ACL, didn't really do much this last year. He was pretty much bubble wrapped with Detroit. They didn't really get him out there. Detroit has made a lot of good moves here in the offseason. They let Jamal Williams walk. They bring in David Montgomery. They've improved that defense. And moving forward, they're going to, DJ Chark's going to be gone. It's Jim Jamison and Amon-Ra, right? Those are the 2 guys that you're going to have there. They're in the same, right? And when we look at what Jamison was in college, 13th in yards per route run for all wide receivers in 2021 when he was there. He is a legitimate deep threat. He's also more of a possession guy than people give him credit for. I think he's a very good yin and yang with Amon-Ra. He's that deep guy. I do think that they're going to use play action a little bit more. I know they're going to get Swift involved. Hawkinson is now gone, right? So we're not going to worry about the tight end targets. So overall, like, he has an immediate volume in this offense. And you have to love this passing attack with where he's at, right? And I think he could crush his ADP based on that. I know people are he's a very volatile asset in terms of, some people think he's going to be a wide receiver 1. Some don't understand like where that's going to come from. But I think volume is there on an offense that looked very good with an improved Jared Goff, and they're building around him. So to me, Jameson Williams has a potential to break out, and everybody's going to be like, duh. But I want to also give you some more context with this. So when we're just looking at everything, because I like to give you guys context. Right now, his dynasty rank on Footballguys is wide receiver 21. So that is, as a whole, all of the dynasty rankers on Footballguys, that is his collective there. He is getting drafted right now, 7th round, wide receiver 30. So when you're looking at his rank as compared to his ADP, he's a value right now in ADP, right? So if you could get him as wide receiver 30, we're looking at a potential high-end wide receiver 2, right? So if you're thinking, hey, if he could be in that wide receiver 13 to 18 range, you're still getting value here, right? If you're comfortable with him being your wide receiver 3 on your roster, which he can be in Dynasty ADP, depending on your team build, he's going to improve. So that, to me, is a possible breakout situation for Jameson Williams. This is why I like where he's getting kind of taken right now, and I think he's a value. Now, some may jump him up, but again, you can kind of extrapolate value based on your league mates and where he's at. Maybe some guys like other people. So let's look at some trades here that you can do. So this happened. These are all recent trades the last 2 weeks. I will never give you that. Shout out to DLF's Trade Finder for these from their leagues. But I'm not going to give you guys a month ago. That doesn't help you. But recently, Jameson Williams was traded for Romeo Doubs and George Pickens. If you think Pickens is less than what Jameson Williams did, you could add something to that to go get Jameson. I think that's a deal that you wouldn't hate to do. Jordan McNamara, he does all the dynasty stuff here on the YouTube channel. He talks about Pickens. So if you go through there and he's really worried about Pickens' upside and think he's getting overvalued, if Jameson's a guy that you can go grab by just adding someone like Romeo to it, I think that's a good play. I think that's a good move. And then he also got traded for a late 24 first. So I do want to show you both sides here. So again, value-wise, when I think of the 2024 first, we're thinking of guys that are in there that late first. There's some question marks at the wide receiver position. Who knows if Jameson could be that? I don't think Jameson's going to be undervalued in that class. I think he's worth a late first. So that's kind of the value there. Now, our second guy is Jerry Jeudy. Now, before you guys all ostracize me in the comments and say I'm not falling for the Jeudy train again, I get it. Trust me, I understand. He has consistently underperformed the last 3 years. Doesn't have 1,000 yards. I get that. But when you're looking at this, Russell Wilson, we're hoping for an improved season. Sean Payton be there matters. Like, I think that legitimately matters when you're looking at what this offense can be and what it's going forward. I think that the running back room, with Javonte's coming back from his injury, I think they're going to throw it a little bit more. But I do think when you're looking at Jeudy, he had a 20% target share last year. He did finish in that wide receiver 19 finish and 16th in ranking in yards per route run. I like that. I know his ADOT wasn't great because Wilson wasn't great, but he still was right there. He had a good open rate. ESPN Athletics put him at 11th in open rate, those type of things. You like that. right? So you like the numbers. The numbers all sound like they're good. Then you look at Sean Payton in the inclusion there. They might move on from Sutton. Judy might get traded. I don't see that happening, but again, that's out there. But if he goes to somewhere else where he's a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2, I'm still on board with Judy being kind of that breakout dynasty asset. And on this team, he could be the wide receiver 1. If they move on from Sutton, I know they're not happy with him. You're looking at it right now, a value, right? Now, when we look at overall, just like his wherever he's going, right now his dynasty rank again is wide receiver 31. So he's going around that rank. That's where guys have him. He is the one, though, that is getting drafted above where we have him as a consensus rank. And I know the reason why is because of Sean Payton. 6th round, wide receiver 22. Now, I think his possible ceiling is a wide receiver 2, a high-end wide receiver 2. Like, I think if he can hit that, he'll still increase his value for ADP. So when I'm looking at breakouts, I'm saying, hey, guys that are going to do better than they've ever performed before and have a chance to beat their ADP. That's what we're looking for. That's our concepts here. And he could do that definitely with the roster that they have, with an improvement with Sean Payton. And it does hint on Will Wilson, and that's you get some nervous there. But again, you got to play a little, you got to be a little risk takers in Dynasty. That's just the reality of this game. And you're looking for breakouts. Judy's a guy with the talent that he has that he could do that. Now, in terms of where he's getting traded for, 109 for Judy. I'm taking Judy all day at that. I think that's a good value, especially because I think the tier break is definitely at that 109 mark. So when you're looking at that, I just wrote a column on Footballguys talking about tier breaks. Where's the value at? So again, Jerry Judy for who? Maybe Will Levis is there, maybe not. Zach Charbonnet, a running back 3, maybe of the class, running back 4. You're looking at Josh Downs, Zay Flowers in that area. I don't think you're going to get any of the big 3 wide receivers. So 109 seems like appropriate value. If you're a contender and you're willing to kind of risk it on Judy, that could be a play. And then Jerry Judy for AJ Dillon the 211. 211 to me is whatever. I think at that point you're looking at a late seconds are kind of throw-ins. What do you think AJ Dillon is moving forward? Aaron Jones being back there, Jordan Love more than likely being the starting quarterback. What does that offense look like? If you hey, I want to get out of this kind of running back purgatory, what Dillon is, I don't know if I can start him weekly, but I know I can plug and play Judy. That could be an option for you. Now, my third guy is Cam Akers. So when we're looking at Cam Akers and what he does, I know he's coming off the injury. So when we're thinking of hey, he did not look good the first half of the season last year. A lot of people wrote him off. But then, hey, that second half from weeks 13 to 18, he averaged 17.7 points per game. And that's the guy that everybody loved, right? That's the Cam Akers that people fell in love with. So when he did that and he had those snap share, I think it was over 75% snap share. He played 100% of the snaps in week 18. That is what we wanted Akers to be in our dynasty leagues, right? So there's 2 sides of Akers. His first 1 through 12 weeks where he had 3.9 points per game and then 17.7 there. I know the Rams are kind of going through this mini rebuild. They still have Stafford there though. They still have Cooper Kupp. When you're looking at their offensive line, it's going to be improved. I don't know by how much, but they haven't, when you're looking at who they brought in, they haven't brought in anybody to kind of compete with him. So I think Akers is a good value at the running back position right now for a potential breakout. And the running backs market is tough right now, right? He's only 24. He is in the final year of his contract, but I would kind of bet on him being, hey, can I maybe break out? And then we go there, right? So when we're looking at just the numbers and going through it, right now, consensus, we're at running back 23. I think we're a little higher on him than some. I've seen him at other places, like running back 26 to 29. So consistently, we're a little higher there. But his 9th round ADP at running back 25, I'm okay with that. So when you're looking at hey, can he improve that? Yeah, I think, a possible ceiling for him. So if we're looking at points per game wise, 17.7 would have been close to that running back 12, 13, mark. So that low end running back 1. If he can continue that trend, if they do lean on him with his pass catching, which I think he can do, I think he can go up there in that running back 1 if he scores some touchdowns, right? There's always going to be that variance in touchdowns, but I do think that he can kind of get to that low end running back 1 number. So that's the kind of thing that I would look for Akers, especially at that running back position, which is really tough and challenging. But because of the lack of picks, I wouldn't say lack of picks because they have more this year than they ever had. I don't necessarily know if they're going to spend high draft capital on a running back, right? With all the needs that they have on that roster. So he's pretty baked into what his role is going to be. Not a bad look for Cam Akers. Now, when you're looking at kind of deals he made, and this is super flex, so that's where Cam Akers for Sam Howell. So what do you think the Commanders are going to do at that quarterback position? Then you have Cam Akers there. Maybe you have Sam as your 4th or 5th quarterback on a super flex team, and you need running back help. There we go. Here's another one that I think for a contending side kind of makes sense. So Trey Lance, who's probably your QB 3 or 4, depending on injuries and where everything is kind of played out, for Cam Akers and Devontae Adams. So you get a guy, Cam Akers, he has ceiling potential of running back 1. late, low end. And then you have Devontae, who looking like, I know that they just got Jimmy G, but Devontae still can kind of win you leagues, right? So those guys, I understand it. I get the Trey Lance side too. So maybe if you have Akers and Adams and you're kind of a rebuilder and you want to go bet on Lance in quarterback and superflex, I give you these trades to help out both sides, right? Now, the last guy that I'm going to talk about is Trey McBride. So when you're looking at Trey McBride, he got targeted 35 times last year, 25, 234, and a touchdown. Wasn't amazing, right? But Ertz got injured. So when he wasn't able to play, then he went out. And then you have Kyler Murray, tearing his ACL. So overall, when you're looking at the overall picture for McBride, they're obviously moving on with DeAndre Hopkins at some point. Once they realize they're probably not going to get a second, they're going to move on. That leaves them Marquise Brown. And then who else, right? We have Rondale Moore there, yes. We have some of these other guys that are in there, auxiliary pieces. They might kind of, target that running back position as well. But Trey McBride may be set up. And when I always look at tight ends, I'm looking at that tight end who could be second on their team in targets. And if you can go grab that tight end, that's what you're looking for. And I especially like it when I look at his numbers here. Our dynasty rank for him is tight end 14. He's going around 13th round, tight end 18. So there is a market discrepancy in the tight end ADP right now for the dynasty ADP as compared to where we're at. And really, it only takes some more targets. If he can bump those numbers up to 60, 70, 80 targets this year, which he could get if he is the second target getter on the team, I don't care if Murray's not there. Whoever they roll out at quarterback and whatever their offense looks like, if you're the second guy on a team, you're going to get targets, right? And he could be that low tight end one. He's a great guy to take a late shot on in this market with, hey, a couple touchdowns here, variance. Hey, okay, wow, he's tight end one and late tight end one, and you spend a 13th round pick on him. Or in the market right now, this is what he's going for. Trey McBride straight up for Chase Claypool. This is after the DJ Moore trade. So that is where McBride's getting valued. So if you believe in DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney, and then Claypool you have on your roster, and you're like, man, I need a tight end help. Maybe you ship him from Trey. And then Jacoby Myers. This was after the Las Vegas signing. So Trey McBride for Jacoby. You're worried about Jacoby going there. What does that look like in that Raiders offense? You're a little over, you don't really think Jacoby's going to step up and be that guy. He's just that guy where you need help at that tight end position. Maybe you're in premium or whatever. You can go get Trey McBride, right? Those are the deals that I like to make. And just to show you kind of the concepts of those. So those are 4 guys that you can maybe go grab in your dynasty leagues right now to help you kind of extract value, be those sleepers, and maybe potentially have that breakout on your roster. And then you can do all kinds of things with them. Trade, value, win your leagues, which we always try to do here at Footballguys. So I hope this helps. As always, find me on Twitter. You can see my ad on the screen, or just leave a comment below. I always try to dive in there and give you that. Hit that like and subscribe button while the outro is going for me. And next time, I'll see you guys later.